Bridge on this Thursday, August 15th, 2024. The time is 7:09 PM, and we call the meeting to order and ask our acting clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Krusek,
Present.
trustee Page,
Present.
trustee Martinez,
Present.
trustee Blair,
Present.
trustee Kagan,
Present.
trustee Angeles,
Present.
Mayor Cunningham,
Present.
quorum established.
Thank you very much. And we thank everyone for being here this evening. And before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm going to ask that everyone to please take a moment of silence. And this evening, we would ask all of the Public Works, Police Department members in our audience, the Alwyn family, the Brinkman family, if you would please lead us in the pledge in just a moment. We'll just take a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So this evening, we do have two recognitions, and we would like to start with a service anniversary, a very important service anniversary. And I'm going to ask Director Bethel. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Director Clark. I don't know why I thought Eric was in the other department, but it would be Eric Alwyn on his 20th anniversary with the village. And thank you, Director Clark. Sorry.
Well, I have the honor here of introducing or honoring and recognizing our village's building commissioner, Eric Alwyn, of 20 years of service. He is here tonight with his wonderful wife, Angela, and his two sons, Emmett and Elliot. I've got an opportunity to get to know them a little bit as well, and he has a wonderful family, and it shines, and we're happy to celebrate Eric today. The building commissioner role is very important in the building department, as it is the code compliant department that helps preserve the essential safety of our community and making sure that everything is being done properly out in the field. And it takes someone with imperative knowledge, technical knowledge, but also soft skills as we are dealing and touching our neighbors every day. And the ability to adapt to change, have patience and communication and creativity is something that Eric shows every day. And I've had the privilege of seeing that. And so Eric was hired on August 23rd of 2004 as our building commissioner. He came to us from the private sector. He has a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of New Mexico. He quickly was promoted. Within a year, he moved up to our senior building inspector and then stepped into the acting director role the following year and then was officially promoted. In 2010, we did a reorganization of the department, which he was critical in managing all of that and maintaining the positive attitude and hard work throughout all of that, as that was a very difficult time, for the department. But Eric's Woodridge career has always been centered on providing residents, businesses, and developers with the best building outcomes while moving the village's development forward. From supervising building inspectors and customer service and permit processing to managing the multifamily licensing and code enforcement programs, Eric's goal is always to focus on what's best outcome for both the individuals involved and for the village. Now, if you ask him what he's most proud of, he personally would say his family, but from a work perspective, he's had some notable accomplishments, such as Under his supervision, he hired and trained 4 building inspectors that did not have formal backgrounds in the building inspection field, but all 4 of them left the community to pursue director positions in other communities. It says a lot about his leadership and his training abilities that people came to this village with no knowledge and left leaving for higher positions. So well done. He's been recognized 5 times with the Employee Recognition Program since 2006, and he's received 2 recognition awards, with the most recent being in 2023. He was critical in assisting the village with the transition to a new ERP software in 2016, and hopefully maybe another one coming up. But Eric's most shining moment was his tornado response efforts. His management of the IEMA Community Damage Assessment, in which he coordinated teams of village staff and mutual aid partners. Eric and team inspected approximately 900 structures in a matter of 2.5 days. The IEMA damage assessments were critical to the village residents and businesses qualifying for the Small Business Administration Disaster Loan Program. And even to this day, Eric has still managed to maintain relationships and work on some of our current neighbors that are still out of their homes. Eric has not only been a great employee, but also a true asset to the Woodridge community through his volunteer work with the Woodridge Kiwanis. Eric is the president of the Woodridge Kiwanis Club and a dedicated volunteer for CSPAR. His passion for giving back shines through in his Kiwanis work, whether it's organizing fundraisers, leading volunteer efforts as the West Suburban Community Pantry, or even establishing a college scholarship for District 99 key club members. I want to congratulate Eric and his 20 years of wonderful, outstanding service. I can say I'm super happy to have him as my right-hand person in the Community Development Department, and he makes me want to be better every day working with him. So thank you very much, Eric. It's an honor.
I'll pull this down, then you might want to say a few words. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, Director Clark, very much. Eric, Kimberly really said it all. One, we're so proud, 20 years, it's amazing, and all your hard work and dedication is exemplary. I know that even to this day, you still continue working with our families impacted by the tornado, which is over 3 years ago, and it's only a small bit of what you do, but you do everything with the same heart, dedication, and commitment. And we are so proud and want to wish you on behalf of all of us, 20 more years, if you have that in you, and we hope so. And we thank you very much, and we congratulate you on your 20-year service anniversary. And we do look forward to many, many years. And thank you for your family being here with you. And I'd like to give you a little token, but also, more importantly, the microphone. And I'll go ahead, aim up.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor. I can't believe it's been 20 years. It has gone by in a flash, and that is truly just because of all of you and everything else that has made my job, easy. Not always, but have been there for support and to help me with through that. Along with that, I absolutely want to thank my wife and my kids and my family. They've made a lot of sacrifices. And done, just been by my side through all of it. Some of the phone calls in the middle of the night, responding to emergencies or some of those things. Absolutely. My family has been right there and been through it all. And so thank you very much. I'd really want to thank all my peers, right? This is what's made this so enjoyable is the peers that I work with, my management team, the management team that we work with, and along with employees, right? Several here tonight. Thank you for coming out and supporting me. But absolutely kind of starts at the top, and I want to thank the board, and I want to thank the board for the direction that they've given to the departments and to the village and to keep things going. As a resident, as well as an employee, it's a great place to be, and just to, really just wanted to thank you all for that, and just go from there. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, just want to say thank you again. The going above and beyond, which is something we talk about a lot. And you do exemplify that every day and in just every area. So I see you in our neighborhood driving around and helping out, and as well as being on call for every emergency as well. Thank you. And like I said, 20 more years, right? We got that, 20 more years. All right. Congratulations to you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Okay, and now I'm going to ask Chief Tom Stephenson to come up, please, for a wonderful recognition tonight as well. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could have Dennis step up with me, please. Okay, Mayor and Board, thank you for this opportunity tonight. Before we get into some fun facts about Dennis, would you please introduce your family that are here with you tonight?
This is Lori, my father Greg, my grandmother Kay, my mother Karen, my oldest son Colin, my wife Christine, my Aunt Kathy, my Uncle Dan, my Aunt Liz, my Uncle Steve back there. I got a cousin Brendan, who works for the Kendall County Sheriff's Office, and his daughter.
Okay, thanks. And Dennis does have one younger son, Alex, who's at a very, very important hockey tryout tonight. So we're sending him all good vibes that he makes the team that he wants to make. So Dennis Brinkman graduated with honors from Western Illinois University, which is also known as the Harvard of the Midwest. He was hired by the Woodridge Police Department in September of 2000 as an officer. He attended the Chicago Police Department Basic Police Academy. He was a Mighty Metro. Upon graduation from there, he cleared his field training with flying colors and was assigned to the patrol division and served there with distinction for 14 years. Some of the specialties that Dennis had as a patrol officer was very quickly into his career, he's made a field training officer and successfully trained many of the officers that you see in this room this evening. He was also an accident reconstructionist, and that is not to be taken lightly. There, you have to take about 4 classes of engineering level physics and math and all the things that I didn't want to have to do, which is why I became a police officer. And that's taken through the Center for Public Safety at Northwestern, and it's a very prestigious honor to graduate successfully, and Dennis did so with flying colors. Very early into his career, Dennis took a leadership path and was named officer in charge. Officer in charge is if the sergeant on the shift is missing, then Dennis would act as the leader for the shift for that evening, and Dennis did that on many occasions. In 2014, Dennis was promoted to sergeant, and typically when we promote you to sergeant, you go back to the patrol division or you serve in the patrol division, but not so with Dennis. There was an opening for our special project sergeant, and it aligned with a lot of the skills that Dennis has. So Dennis was moved into a special position right when he became a sergeant. Part of his duties there were overseeing the DARE unit, the traffic unit, the management of the evidence section of our police department, as well as maintaining and updating our emergency operating plan as a village. As you know, we exercised that plan pretty vigorously when we had the tornado of 2020. In 2017, Dennis went back to the patrol division and managed a shift for about 1.5 years. And then we moved him into the community outreach sergeant position, which was an updated version of the special project sergeant in a newly created unit, our community outreach unit. So Dennis managed that along with the previous mentioned sections. While community outreach sergeant, Dennis was instrumental in the planning, designing, and execution of the project for our new police facility, which we're very proud of. And due to his efforts in that, Dennis was nominated by his fellow employees and was named Village Employee of the Year for 2023, which is not a small feat. Dennis is a graduate of many leadership courses, including Center for Public Safety School of Staff and Command through Northwestern University, as well as under a previous task force that we belonged to. Dennis was a countywide component commander for a countywide major crash reconstruction team and responded to many communities in the DuPage area in their time of need. Fun fact about Dennis too, he spent part of his youth as a Woodridge resident and is a proud graduate of Edgewood School? Almost graduate of Edgewood School. You did graduate though. Yeah, okay, good. Just not from Edgewood. And I think as a testament to Dennis, you see many of our off-duty officers took time out of their day to come here, and I want to thank them for that. You see members of our Board of Police Commissioner, as well as members of our volunteer corps. We have Deputy Chief Ben Cadolf from Willowbrook Police Department, who's a peer of Dennis. And then we have retirees, Chief Cunningham, Mary Norris, and Steve Edson as well, which I think speaks to how Dennis is thought of in the police department. So thank you very much.
Well, I could, I'm just going to interject because I do want to be sure to congratulate you, Dennis, on this wonderful achievement in your life and working hard to get there. And also, it's an honor to have your family here, which I've known your grandma, your mom, your aunts for many, many years ago. And I believe I met Dennis way back then. Am I right? Yeah, when he was very little. You know, it just is an honor. And when I heard you went to Edgewood School, so did I, way back when. I didn't graduate from there either because Sipley was built. But anyway, long story. But enough about that. But congratulations to you and thanking all of your peers that are here with you and your colleagues and our family at the Woodridge Police Department. This is a testament to you and what you bring to our village every day. Your dedication, your leadership, and the heart that you bring with you every day to work. We thank you for that and well-deserved promotion. So congratulations from all of us here at the Village Board. Thank you. And our clerk will come down, Andy. Mhm.
Can you please raise your right hand? And repeat after me. I, Dennis M. Brinkman,
I, Dennis M. Brinkman,
having been appointed to
having been appointed to
the office of Deputy Chief
the office of Deputy Chief,
in the Village of Woodridge
Village of Woodridge,
and the counties of DuPage, Will, and Cook,
counties of DuPage, Will, and Cook,
aforesaid,
aforesaid,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of
and that I will faithfully discharge
faithfully discharge
the duties of Deputy
the
Chief
duties of Deputy Chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to
You are all set.
Hey, Dennis, who would you like to have come up and pin your badge? Okay, Dennis, I invite you to say a few words, please.
I'm actually gonna have Eric come up and say my speech for me. Mayor, trustees, Administrator Stanich, department heads, thank you very much for the opportunity. I look forward to serving the village in a different capacity, but to be continue to be excellent like we always are. It's been a long road coming this way, but a couple bumps along the way, but this is where I am right now, and this is where I wanted to be. So I look forward to the challenges that this presents. Thank you for everyone that came out, all the men and women of the Woodridge Police Department that are here, past and present, elected officials, appointed board members, my family. Thank you very much for being here. This it really means a lot to me, and thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Wonderful to see you. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So we'll go ahead and move on now to our public portion of the meeting and comments from the public. Going to ask, please, we're going to pause and acknowledge any written public comments that have been received prior to our meeting this evening that do not relate to tonight's agenda. And if we have, we would enter those into the record. Administrator Stonich?
Mayor, we have not received any comments.
Thank you very much. Going to ask now anyone in the audience that would like to make a public comment on any item that would not be related to tonight's agenda. And if so, we would like to invite you to the podium. Okay. We thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and move right on. And we would now pause again to acknowledge any written public comments that have been received prior to our meeting that do not appear on tonight's agenda. And if we have, we would enter those into the public record. Administrator Stonich?
Mayor, we have not.
Okay, thank you very much. Going to again now offer to our public that is here this evening, we would invite you, if you would like to make a comment to the village board on any item that does appear on tonight's agenda and you would like to address the village board, we'd ask you to come up to the podium. Okay, well, again, thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and move on to our omnibus this evening. Going to ask, please, for a motion to approve items A and B and the acceptance of C through E, please. A motion?
So moved.
Thank you. I heard trustee Martinez. Was it trustee Blair as well?
Right.
Okay, thank you both very much. So first and second, is there any request for any item to be separately considered this evening? Okay, thank you. Hearing none. Administrator Stonich, would you please review the items appear on our agenda items this evening?
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham. Members of the board, good evening. Item A, Resolution 2024-49, resolution approving Lombard Joint Bid 2022-23 for the Lombard, Bartlett, Bensonville, Elmhurst, West Chicago, Wheaton, Woodridge, and DuPage County for the sidewalk saw cutting with Hard Rock Concrete Cutters, Inc. This is an extension of option 2 for 2024. Item B, Resolution 2024-50. It's a resolution to approve the purchase of one 2025 Ford Escape all-wheel drive vehicle from Curry Motors Fleet, Frankfort, Illinois. This would be a purchase through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative out of Northwest Municipal Conference. Item C are accounts payable registers for 2024, which would be for the dates May 31st, June 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, July 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. August 2nd, credit card registers, March and April 2024 wire register, July 2024 as well. And then item D are prior board minutes, and item E is also prior board minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask our acting clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Page? Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
Trustee Blair?
Aye.
Trustee Kagan?
Aye.
Trustee Angeles?
Aye.
Trustee Krusek?
Aye.
Mayor Cunningham? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Under the mayor's report, we had a wonderful day today, even though the weather was a little bit not cooperative. We had the municipal selfie day here today, and I thank our staff and Jamie particularly for putting together a wonderful selfie day. It's always nice to get to see our neighbors come out and support the village, but also be together and just have a little bit of fun. Once the power came back on, it was better. But we did have a great day. Thank you all very much. I don't really have a report this evening, but I do always like to remind everyone and invite you to please stay connected to the village through our e-news, which you can easily sign up for and get information every Friday. It's just wonderful to be able to read and stay connected, but also in the know of what's going on in Woodridge. We're a very active community and we always have lots going on. So I invite everyone to please stay connected to the village. And if you are, I thank you very much. That is my report. Administrator Stonich, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First item A is Resolution 2024-51, resolution authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a certain comprehensive plan update, professional services agreement between the Village of Woodridge and the Lakota Group. Director Clark is here to present, and we also have representatives from the Lakota Group who have joined us. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Our comprehensive plan update. So we are ready to kick off this project as we've concluded our zoning code update. Now we're looking at the comprehensive plan. And quickly, here's what I'm going to outline as I talk briefly about what that means, what it is, and how we move forward. So the comprehensive plan really is our opportunity to think big for our community and think towards the future. It is the blueprint per se and how we see things can develop over time. It will open in dialogue and engage our community. It's the biggest opportunity to do that is through a comprehensive plan update of this nature. And it's going to provide us a series of goals and policies to guide our local decisions. So the Woodridge's planning process is very specific. We're looking at a comprehensive plan that you'll see later on is looking at very specific areas in our community. So we want to educate, we want to guide, and we want to improve. So we're going to look at and understand the market of these areas. We're going to determine what is possible that can happen in these very specific areas that we've outlined. And we're going to identify what they can be in the next 10, 15, 20 years. We want to promote the village. We want to establish a vision for our community and influence the development in a positive way that will also hopefully streamline the development. Target specific users, look at specific vacant land, and strategically promote the private and public investment in our community. We want to leverage our competitive advantages. We want to promote the corridor's image and promote the village's brand. And basically, always we want to look at addressing our challenges, but then look at the opportunities and possibly reposition ourselves for the future. So a comprehensive planning process outcome is hopefully going to be a set of shared vision for our community in the reinvestment sites that we've identified to attract the quality developers and expectations of redevelopment. We want to support the future land use recommendations based on the future market trends and needs of our community and establish a framework of the branding and placemaking in key corridors so that it's clear when someone is in Woodridge. We have identified around 9 sites, and they're kind of overviewed over here, but essentially 75th Street, our commercial corridor, there's several areas within there that we want to focus on. Our Lamont Road corridor, as well as our Route 53 area, specifically 7 Bridges. The project cost in completion is $214,326. We did in our budget put forth $150,000. We'd be looking to have some additional funds allocated for next year, as we will not be spending all that dollar amount necessarily by this budget, but that would be the request in order to move forward. The project timeline, as we talked and interviewed with our consultants, we initially thought a year, but most experienced professionals are saying approximately 15 months is probably more realistic. There's a large engagement process that we've emphasized to our consultants as part of this process. And then that will take a big chunk of the first phase. And then they will take the feedback, they'll start envisioning and planning, and then putting it all together in a plan and hopefully a strategy for us to implement. In addition to that, we're going to have the caveat of having some economic development and branding and marketing as part of the land use decisions as well. So our next steps as we move forward, if we approve the resolution tonight, we will engage the consultants. We are putting forth various groups as we need to have that input in early and soon. So the first one would be our steering committee, and that is the main committee that's going to help move things along. And we've recommend that be the Plan Commission. They have the regular scheduled meetings, they have the venue and the wherewithal to keep those meetings going. And then in addition to that, we recognize there's going to be focus groups and expert panels probably related to the areas that we're focusing on. And then we'll be formalizing a more public engagement process throughout the calendar year to maximize our opportunity to attend events that are held through the village or even our partners so that we can have a presence and get as much input from the public as possible. So we'll be strategizing on how those public engagements work out by capturing events that are already going on and finding a way to be a part of it. With that, that's my brief summary. I would like to introduce the Lakota Group. They are the firm we have chosen. It was a great pool of applicants, and we are happy to say that Lakota really shined. And I'd like to introduce them and have them talk a little bit more about their firm and what they envision for this process. We have Scott Ferris, the principal of Lakota here, and Alexis is a partner as well. And I'm going to pull up their PowerPoint real quick. And we can get started. Mhm. All right, with PowerPoint, I always struggle. What's the,
So do I.
where's the? All right. You want to go off of that? I don't know. I know there's like a play button on it, but I always struggle. So thank you, Scott.
Thank you. We welcome you.
Thank you so much for having us. And my name is Scott Ferris, president of Lakota Group, and I really appreciate being here this evening. And it's so nice. You walk into a council chamber and you can sense the vibe of a community very quickly. I can tell you that my colleague Alexis and my team of people, we work all over the country, urban planning, urban design, landscape architecture, community engagement, the whole full spectrum. But you can feel the vibe of a community when you go into a council chamber and you see community happening in those places. And it's super important when we put together a comprehensive plan because it's shaped by the community. It's not us. We are the scribe. We are going to be writing this long range plan. We don't even know you yet, and we've got a lot of homework to do to get to know you, but you can feel a little bit of energy when you walk into a room and you can see how people work together, react to each other, congratulate your staff and are proud of them. It doesn't happen in every council chamber across America. And there's a little bit of loss of civic pride and civic responsibility in our community. I think it's here, and I'm happy to be a part of your community this evening. So I'll tell you a little bit about our process. Lakota Group, as I mentioned, a full-scale planning firm. We work both on the municipal side, so we're working for municipalities and cities across the country, but we also work on the private development side. So our clients are also the developers and the builders and the shopping center owners and the office park across the country. And we find that to be a very important tool to have because what it brings to a comprehensive plan, which is very important, is reality. Anybody can write a fairy tale plan for your community, but you can never get there. We like to consider our plans based in reality, achievable reality, believable fiction, as some people may say. But the reality is we want to be able to provide you with clear direction, and an implementation strategy, and it happens over 1, 3, 5, 10, 20 years. A good comprehensive plan has to be revisited every year. You don't have to redo it. You don't have to bring the consultants in, but you have to think about the things that are in there and you need to think about what's changing in the world. I can tell you over the last couple of years, we've been writing comprehensive plans or redoing comprehensive plans because the effects of COVID changed how we live. It changed how we view our communities, what's important to us. Every community in America now is all about walkability and making sure you're all connected. All the public funding dollars are making sure those sidewalks are fixed up and our parks are looking good because we realized how important our community was when we had to live in it and we were locked down. And it speaks a lot to how we should think about the future in terms of reinventing parts of our community. And Director Clark put it very simply. Our process, our team, supported by myself, Suraj Asfahani, who can't be with us this evening. He'll be the project manager along with Alexis Stein. Top-notch planners. You're going to hear a lot from Alexis tonight about community engagement, which is the hallmark of our company. We put a lot of emphasis in that. And it isn't just in phase one, it's through the whole process. And it's about how effectively we can communicate clearly to your community and make sure they're aware of what's going on, what the topics are, if they need more information, more education. This educational process is as much communicating ideas of how we rebuild in the future. We want to make sure people are comfortable with topics because that's where a lot of things go sideways in our communities, is not understanding what we're really trying to achieve. In order to do that, we've brought with us a team that we work with all the time around the country. Jerry Hoffman, Dan Sheridan are with Hoffman Strategies. They are market and development advisors. So they work on the market side, providing you the information you need to understand about marketplace. What can you have here? What will really work here? What's going to happen on the 75th Street corridor? But they also advise the development world. So they know what the developers are looking. They understand that what is critically important is the development economics of how land actually can be developed, what it takes to make it work. And sometimes there's that yin and yang between what the public wants, what leadership wants, and what the economics say. And we want to make that clear, and we want to make it easy and predictable, because at the end of the day, the most important part of this plan is it provides predictability, not only for your residents, but businesses and those who want to invest in this community. You want to make sure you're making a good choice to be in Woodridge. We also have on our team Justin and Rory from Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn is our engineering consultant. Their focus is going to be looking at your infrastructure systems in the community from the broadest perspective, but also transportation and mobility. How is it working? What isn't working? What problems do you have here? Coming down 75th, how do you cross that thing? How do you connect the community? That's a big issue we need to talk about. And I've only been here for a little bit, and I understand that, but that's a symptom of a lot of metropolitan areas. My folks lived over in Clarendon Hills, and crossing Ogden Avenue was a nightmare. And so the reality of it is, it happens everywhere, but we got to come up with effective solutions and how we tackle that. We have a lot of partners in this process. You are our most important partners, leadership, all of your staff, all of the different boards and other regulating bodies in the community. We know that we have to look a little bit bigger sometimes, not within ourselves, but outside of ourselves, understand what's going on around us in other communities, understand what's going on us at each of the county levels of this conversation. And that's all important, and really as part of our engagement and our talking, and finding out what do we need to be aware of regionally, and then what do we need to be aware of locally. It's a regional game. And it's also a competitive game. We want to put ourselves in the right place, because a good comprehensive plan puts you in place for funding strategies and funding sources if it's done right. We're aligning you with the right topics where money is going to be when you need to think about that for big capital projects looking forward into the future. There's a number of planning goals that are part of our process. Director Clark pointed out a whole host of them. We put them up here just to kind of reiterate the fact that we're trying to create a shared vision for the community. We're trying to think of what I would call efficient land use policy and direction, not just coloring the map with the right colors on it and aligning it with zoning, but understand what can really happen on there and what needs to change or not change in order to make it a reality, a vision that you can achieve. We want to think about the economics of the community and what I call strategic growth, doing the right thing, but setting you up for success from an economic standpoint, a fiscal standpoint. As Director Clark spoke to, a big chunk of this plan is going to be about sub-areas, about specific target areas of the community where change is warranted, where people see concern, where people want to get their arms around what should it be, what could it be, and how will it benefit us as a community. And there's a number of places, and I don't even know all the history behind them, but we've got a lot of work to do to really understand from your perspective what's happened there, why has it changed, and what do we need to do to think about that moving forward. And as we go through all these things, we're thinking about how they align with your capital budgets, your expenditures, and where do we align certain projects with certain type of funding 1, 3, 5, 10 years out into the future. Branding and wayfinding, you heard a little bit about that. You're going to hear a lot about that. We're going to package all that into this process and build it into it as though it moves through the whole process. What is the brand? What is the community's brand? What is the brand for these corridors? What's the brand for this process? We want the community to understand what a comprehensive plan is. A lot of people say to us, the developers are in town. Those are the developer guys. Well, very, very early on, we tell them we're not the developer. We're merely trying to convey the ideas of what development patterns will look like in the future. And I think that's a very important part of our process. We have a 3-phase process. What you heard, it's about a 15-month-long process. We can go faster, slower. It's really a function of getting meetings organized, getting review back, getting our public engagement. We have a number of workshops and community open houses that'll occur through these phases where we're sharing ideas with the public, engaging them. People say, well, we don't get a lot of people out of our meetings. Well, we'll find ways to get them out. And if we don't get them out, we're going to go to them. You'll hear a lot about our strategies are built around how your community communicates. And if it doesn't do it in what I would call the public realm, then we need to go to the places it does. And whether that's schools or churches or pop-up events, farmers markets. We spent the last 4 weekends in July in Tinley Park at farmers markets. We got more information from the community while they were shopping, doing their business, than we did drawing them into an open house on 7 o'clock at night in a public space. It just works better for them. And if that's the way it works here, then that's what we need to do. So we're going to engage, we're going to assess, we're going to find out what's going on, and we're going to set a benchmark. We call it the state of the community, state of the village report. And that's the end of phase one after our first 3 or 4 months. And it just sets the benchmark with all of you. We're in the right place. You've got the right information. You're working off the right parameters. You've got the right history. Step 2 is where we start to build in the ideas. We start to develop what I would call the target initiatives, the policies, the framework of what a comprehensive plan. There's lots of what I would call the hallmarks of a comprehensive plan. They speak to livable neighborhoods, quality retail, walkable streets, sound educational, efficient infrastructure systems, efficient governance. All of those will be built into this comprehensive plan, and we're going to find out what it means to everybody in terms of how effective we need to put policy, not only policy, but initiatives underneath that, tasks. So there'll be tasks. This is a workbook for you to move forward with this board and successive boards into the coming years. And lastly, we document all that into the final plan, the implementation strategy, and built throughout this whole process is also this branding exercise that we're building, so that we're building consensus behind the brand. We're tying it to a comprehensive plan, a plan for the future. But we're also building a brand for the community that can be built out of this and kind of a new vision forward. As I mentioned, the key focus areas, a lot of different topics, mobility, economic vitality, and there may be other ones that we need to think about. One of the ones I always ask people on here is sustainability. You know, that's a big buzzword out there. How important it is to you, and how do we use it effectively here so it meets the needs of your community? It's not just a buzzword. What does sustainability mean, and how do we bake it into this conversation? I'm not going to put solar farms up and down the road on empty lots. This is a SMART process, one based on measurable, achievable, and relevant topics. We like to integrate all these topics. They're not silos by themselves, but they cross over between them. It has to be a meaningful document for people to understand. That is really critical in this process. Most of the community doesn't pick up the comprehensive plan, read it, or even know what it's all about. So as part of our comprehensive planning process, and as directed, we're going to have what I would call the water ski version, the short version. So there's the real comprehensive plan, and then there's going to be the Cliff Note version that's digital and easy for people to understand. What is this document? What does it mean? And I, as a resident, can pick it up and immediately know this is the guiding policies of our community. I don't have to read through 150 pages, but I can find it quickly. We found that that's the most effective tool of all, and you need to have it. That's how people communicate. Everybody's digital now. They're doing this. We got to get it out there in a way that's measurable, and that speaks to the slide that we have before us. I spoke to the idea of sub-area planning. These exhibits start to reflect some of the conversations we have. Again, there's a lot of history behind all of them. I'm not going to get into that. We'd be jumping ahead of this a little bit too far. But the idea is there's a number of areas in the community that are changing, and we need to understand what that means. And there may be other ones as we go through this process that we say, hey, we saw this. Did you ever think about this one? So I want you to know we're going to be thinking about that. But what's important to think about that is as we develop the market understanding, as we develop our conversations with folks, we're also going to develop specific plans. People need to see what could happen on that site. What's it going to look like? I need to understand what it's going to look like before I can establish the policy that I want to indoctrinate in words and in language. And so as we do that, we think about developing ideas, we think about our workshops, we think about gathering people around to see some of these ideas in a way that's simple and not definitive and not looking like it's final and it's a development plan that we're bringing buildings to a particular site. We use the information from the community in our open houses, our working sessions, our surveys, and we begin to use that in what I would call an anecdotal fashion of showing folks what we've heard from other folks. We're voting. It may be a little funny money voting. It may be just stickers on a board, but we're starting to understand what are the items, what are the issues that resonate with people? Where do they find things that they like and they find things that they don't like? And so we can understand that as we go into developing ideas. And then we start developing the solutions. And I'm showing this as an example from another community, but the idea is showing lots of solutions. We call it the min-min-max approach to planning, which is showing the baby steps. Very simple, a little bit more, and a little bit out of our box and thinking big. And somewhere between all of that is where we come back to what's comfortable for your community and what people want. And that's with anything, with any land use, with any ideas that are part of this plan. We illustrate it. And sometimes we illustrate it to the next level. And I'm showing this picture. This is important because I want to show you progress of a process from a comprehensive plan to a specific plan to an RFP to a built environment. So we took this process for a community so they could understand there was a critical piece of a downtown, couldn't get their arms around it, got consensus from the community through a planning process, a master planning process, drove it to a visual so people could say, I'm happy with that idea. Once we had the happy idea in the community, we took it to the marketplace with an RFP and brought developers in, and they had predictability. They had predictability exactly what the community wanted, streamline the process, get the project built, and everybody was happy because they were involved in making the decision. It wasn't done by just the developers or the outside world. And that's what we want to communicate in these next schemes is these are all built around planning process, illustrations to help people communicate the ideas, and then the built environment. So they're based in reality. They're based in real economics. They're based in what you want and what the private world is willing to do or can do. I'm going to turn it over very quickly to Alexis, and she's going to talk about our engagement process and all the tools we use really quick.
Yeah, hello, my name is Alexis Stein, and I am a planner at the Lakota Group. This is my favorite topic to talk about, the engagement. And as Director Clark and Scott said, it is the foundation of the planning process. This plan is for the community, so we really need their voices to help inform our recommendations going forward. So I'm going to dive a little bit more into what our engagement process looks like. It is different for every community, so we will be working with the steering committee and staff to figure out what will work best. And we'll also adjust it along the way to make sure we're capturing as many voices as possible. But we start out with a very distinct distinct project brand. So people recognize it. We put it on a website, we put it on Instagram posts, Facebook posts, even banners at the farmers market, just so folks are aware of the planning process, they see it around, and they want to get engaged. And it's always different for each community, but these are some of the tactics that we use for community engagement. So there's usually the traditional engagement, that's workshops, that's open houses. We'll definitely be doing that here. Then incentivized engagement. So maybe that's giving out little keychains, which we've done before. We've even had a prize wheel just to get people coming up to us and engaging. Then pop-up workshops at existing events. Interactive engagement, just making sure that people can write their ideas down or put stickers or sticky notes, whatever that may be. And in some cases, we'll do next level marketing. So you'll see right here, there's the billboard, but that can take many different forms. And then, of course, I must mention that we do the digital engagement as well. So that's surveys, sometimes little text reminders. You have your e-newsletter that you were talking about. So we will definitely be making use of that. So please keep promoting it. And then finally, we do like to take an out of the box approach to engagement. So right here, this is an example, Lakota in the Streets, where we will go out to the community and get a little microphone and talk to people, talk about their needs, what's most important to them, and record it. Another thing that we've been doing lately is little podcast sessions at our engagement events. We have a cool microphone and we just want to hear people's stories, what's important to them. I can already tell that this community is amazing. I was tearing up a little bit earlier in the meeting. And yeah, it's hearing more of that and making sure that makes its way into the plan and informs what we do. That's it on engagement. I'd be happy to answer any more questions or open it up to questions about the rest of the process.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alexis.
Yeah.
And Kimberly, first of all. The presentation is excellent and many of us have been waiting a long time. So this is a wonderful opportunity and I'd like to open it up to the village board. If anyone has any questions or comments at this time. To my right, anyone have anything? All right, wonderful. Well, thank you. We're very excited and we appreciate
Thank
being here
you.
this evening. It was kind of one of those wonderful feel-good nights.
Yeah, it really
for the village
was.
board. So, perfect timing, but, we do welcome you and, as we say, a warm Woodridge welcome. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Director Clark. So we have before us Resolution 2024-51. Going to ask for a motion to approve. A motion to approve, please.
So moved. So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Krusek. Was there a second? Second. Okay, thank you. I'd ask our acting clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair.
Aye.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Trustee Angeles. Trustee Krusek.
Aye.
Trustee Page.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Next item B, Resolution 2024-52, a resolution ratifying the village administrator's execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Chicago, the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System, ILEAS, and the Village of Woodridge for the provision of services and aid in preparation for and during the Democratic National Convention meeting in Chicago. And this would be final, subject to the review of the village attorney. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have before us Resolution 2024-52, please. Going to ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Page. And a second, please. Thank you, Trustee Angeles. Any discussion on this item?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, please.
I just have a question for our chief here. I'm all in favor of mutual aid. God knows we used it during our tornado. I just want to ensure that this is not going to leave our community shorthanded. I'm all about helping the other communities, but not at the expense of protecting our residents. So if you can, we won't be shorthanded or.
No, Trustee Blair, thank you. We've had ample time to plan for these two officers' absence, and we will not jeopardize our community, and we will not provide a lesser level of service.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If our acting clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Blair.
Aye.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Trustee Angeles. Trustee Krusek.
Aye.
Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. As we have no further business to discuss this evening, I'm going to now ask for a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the village board. A motion, please. Thank you, Trustee Angeles. A second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Martinez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries, and it is 8:02 PM. We thank everyone very much, and have a